Hey guys, Xalem here. If you've been keeping up with me, you know that I just got fired from my job just recently. Well, it turns out that my job has been doing an undercover investigation to try to undermine my credibility as a YouTuber. Well, I'm not gonna have that anymore. So I've taken the liberty to get an actual bomb that I'm gonna place inside the facility to try to undermine their investigation. Oh shit!
Where'd he go? Damn it, I think he went this way.
Well, that was fairly eventful. Pokemon Coliseum, the Pokemon Company's response to people wanting a more mature Pokemon game. It's no secret that Pokemon's the biggest franchise on the planet. You know it, your kids know it, your kids' kids probably know it, and they'll probably still be shoving Charizard down your throat in 2050. Now I know, did I really Google how to build a bomb so I could blow up my old place of employment? I'm not stupid. I bought it off of Wish. In the early 2000s, Pokemon dominated pop culture, with the release of 3 successful Game Boy games, best-selling console games, and the anime releasing high-quality movies. You couldn't go anywhere without seeing Pokemon merch plastered all over everything. But with the release of next-gen hardware, specifically the GameCube, Nintendo and the Pokemon Company wanted to expand and create a brand new experience for players that were new to the series, but stayed true to the core Pokemon gameplay. To accomplish this, Nintendo brought in Genius Sonority, a brand new studio created by Hiroshi Yamauchi, the sitting president of Nintendo at the time, by using a cash reserve utilized specifically for startup studios. The studio consisted of Manabu Yamano, one of the former heads of Dragon Quest VI and VII, alongside members of Creatures Incorporated, the studio responsible for the dearly beloved Earthbound series. Yamauchi had faith that the team could pull this off, as their ideas were greatly inspired by games like Final Fantasy VII and Persona 2 at the time, which both helped lead Genius Sonority to create a more complex and deeper story for the Pokemon series. The result of this was Pokemon Coliseum, which, in essence, was a spiritual successor to Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, with some of Stadium's assets actually being used and upscaled to meet next-gen hardware standards. However, while the core gameplay and 3D scope was copied from Stadium, this is by far an advancement, as Pokemon Coliseum was Pokemon's first 3D outing that included an interesting story and all new battle mechanics, the most notable being Shadow Pokemon. Shadow Pokemon are Pokemon that have artificially had the door to their heart shut, resulting in, for lack of a better word, evil Pokemon. Pokemon that would attack trainers, ignore commands, and do anything they damn well please. The goal of the game was to snag these Pokemon. By stealing Shadow Pokemon during the heat of battle, you could essentially liberate these Pokemon from the villainous team. Promoting stealing for children, this is definitely not going to be controversial. After a series of commercials endorsing children to indulge in Poke Theft, patent pending, November 21st, 2003 came around, and alongside it, Pokemon Coliseum. This released for the Nintendo GameCube 1 year after the launch of Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and 2 months before Pokemon Fire Red and Leaf Green. And well, just look at this opening cutscene. So we've already seen this presumable vigilante steal a mysterious machine, blow up a hideout, and wait, is that a body in a bag? This game did an excellent job at telling you right off the bat that this is not your typical Pokemon game, with its gritty approach and darker storyline elements, all within the first 2 minutes. The game manages to capture this excellently and— oh?
We interrupt your regularly scheduled broadcast for this news update.
Hi, Lance Caster the newscaster here. This just in. A bomb has just exploded at the VGI, resulting in no casualties, but hundreds and thousands of dollars in property damage. Investigators are currently trying to narrow down a list of subjects, starting with former and current employees at the facility.
That looks like my car.
Sir, Special Agent Cesar Zappelli, but you can call me Jared. We have reason to believe you've been involved in the bombing of the VGI headquarters.
Listen, Gerard, I'm unemployed. I'm just trying to play Pokemon Coliseum. What reason do you have of suspecting me?
It's Jared, and you were let go from that facility very recently, making you the prime suspect. Also, wasn't your house on fire just very recently?
I wanted to start up my own culinary business. Come on in. After a news update stating that a rogue vigilante has bombed a nearby headquarters completely unrelated to current events, we are introduced to our first battle in Pokemon Coliseum, and this is the main selling point of the game, that being
Double battles!
Double battles were just introduced in Generation 3, with only a few scattered trainers having the option to double battle alongside one mandatory gym leader, or gym leaders, which still doesn't make sense to me because the whole gym is single battles except for the leaders. Like, I get it, but that's a topic for another video. And this is where the glory of Pokemon Coliseum comes from. There are no single battles in the entire game. Others might disagree, but being able to adapt to this new style of gameplay was an excellent change of pace for the Pokemon series, especially while staying true to the original formula. It's also well to note that you don't start out with your typical starter Pokemon, as your first two Pokemon you were given are Umbreon and Espeon, which says a lot about the main character, since he just blew up a building, but he loves his Pokemon enough for them to evolve. But it's not just him who loves these Pokemon. Coliseum skyrocketed Umbreon and Espeon's popularity, and are probably a factor in why everybody loves these two Pokemon so much.
Is this an Umbreon onesie?
But this leads me to our two main characters, Wes and Rui. Wes is a former Team Snagem member, a group dedicated to using the snag machine to steal other trainers' Pokemon during battle. Wes leaves Team Snagem for reasons that are never quite made clear. But I mean, they're stealing Pokemon, what other reason do you need? Rui is Pokemon's answer to getting rid of Misty in the Pokemon anime. And to be honest, I wish she'd just stay in the bag. Rui is the girl you rescue that has the mystical power to see the aura that surrounds Shadow Pokemon. And 4 things to note here. 1, this is clearly just a way to implement the mechanic of how to tell Shadow Pokemon apart. 2, why does Wes have a very American name while Rui has a very Japanese name that doesn't even sound close to Misty? 3, I feel like if I don't refer to Rui seeing aura as a stand, that I'll get fussed at, so there you go, 2 JoJo's references in one video. And 4, she follows you everywhere you go! Like, I understand the reason behind her being there, but why couldn't you come up with a better way to detect Shadow? Oh look, there it is.
You are well aware of the severity of this investigation, aren't you?
Oh, absolutely, sir. But let me point your attention to my senior superlative, in which I was voted least likely to bomb their former place of employment.
What the f***?
Pokemon Coliseum takes place in the Ore region, which was primarily based on the city of Phoenix in Arizona, a largely desert area where wild Pokemon actually don't reside, and that's where the primary complaint of Pokemon Coliseum comes in. The trademark catchphrase of "gotta catch 'em all"? Yeah, forget that, because there are no wild encounters in Pokemon Coliseum, as instead, all Pokemon are caught by snagging them from other trainers. This was met with a ton of backlash, as it ruined the core Pokemon series, as fans said. Now, nobody is forced to like every game, but I think people tend to forget that this was its own set of games. Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2 didn't have half of the things that Coliseum had, especially wild encounters. But I mean, it did have this one minigame where the announcer would yell, "Ninja!" So I guess that's not too bad. To make up for this, the Pokemon Company did something ingenious. You see, when Ruby and Sapphire was released, the Pokemon Company was not able to allow players to transfer their Pokemon from the Game Boy Color to the Game Boy Advance. A lot of fans were really disappointed by this, and there were almost 200 Pokemon that weren't able to be captured in the Hoenn region. With Red and Blue remakes on the way, they focused on putting every missing Pokemon from Gold and Silver in the Coliseum so that the Pokedex could truly be completed between the 3 titles. This was an excellent way to appease fans, but I just gotta say, there's a lot of Pokemon in Gen 2 that just flat out blow. After the story truly takes off in Phoenix City, the game allows you to choose to fight 3 different trainers, each one with one of the Gen 2 Johto starter Pokemon, with the option to rebattle them in the post-game spoilers. But the other Pokemon aren't quite up to snuff. Like seriously, how am I supposed to fight a Slowking and a Slacking when all I have is a level 47 Jumpluff? Now don't get me wrong, there are some great Pokemon in Gen 2, but unfortunately with most of these, we don't get to see them until halfway through the game. Miltank, Heracross, Houndoom, Skarmory, most of these Pokemon don't show up until right before the final battle, with Tyranitar being the final Pokemon in the base game that you encounter. Tyranitar, however, does make sense, seeing as though it is the pseudo-legendary of Gen 2. On top of this, all 3 of the legendary dogs are back as well, and as an added bonus, a bitch to catch. Each one of the evil organization's leaders have the beasts Entei, Raikou, and Suicune, and these are some of the hardest Pokemon to catch in the entire series. They might be overwhelmingly difficult, but being able to use the legendary dogs throughout the whole game is such a rewarding experience. And how could I forget about the villainous team? Cypher, the evil organization that wants to use Shadow Pokemon to overtake the Ore region and create an army to take over the world. You really just put every generic plot in a hat and pulled one out, didn't you? Cypher has teamed up with Team Snagem to steal Pokemon from trainers and use those Shadow Pokemon to terrorize the people of the Ore region, which honestly, the plot isn't that deep. It's incentive enough for Pokemon to say, here's Shadow Pokemon, now go catch him. Figure out who's behind this, go start your investigation. Well, with the ongoing investigation of my potential criminal backgrounds, I'm gonna go ahead and do what anybody would do to prepare for a situation like this. I'm gonna go ahead and order some delivery. You want anything?
What the hell is this?
Shadow Pokemon play the primary role in Coliseum and completely change how you strategize and pace yourself within the game. For better and for worse. The first challenge lies in capturing the Shadow Pokemon, which sounds pretty simple, right? Well, say hello to the Coliseum exclusive move, Shadow Rush. Shadow Rush is fairly similar to Takedown, where you perform a heavy attack, but suffer from recoil damage. However, tight matchups are null and void with Shadow Rush. With recoil added in, while whittling down a Pokemon's health, they can end up knocking themselves out before you get the opportunity to catch them. If you didn't knock them out, then remember that this is double battles, which means your opponent could knock themselves out with weather-based moves or the dreaded Earthquake. And I know my hardcore Coliseum fans will tell you how frustrating capturing Shadow Entei is. And that's another thing. The opposing AI is far more intelligent in this game, using advanced double battle techniques that would give even veteran players trouble, especially when trying to overcome opponents while capturing their Pokemon as well. Xalem uses an Earthquake Protect team, which is paired with a Shadow Entei, which means you could just kiss Entei goodbye right now. The final boss has a skill swap Slacking and a ferocious team of Pokemon, but I can't talk about the strategy without talking about Mirror B, the elusive Michael Jackson-esque Cypher admin, who blessed us with 4 dancing Ludicolo's, custom fit with Swift Swim and Rain Dish. And if I have to say one thing about him, it's... But once you've caught the Shadow Pokemon, how do you turn it back into a regular Pokemon? Well, of course, you gotta give it lots of love and affection and sing it little songs, and eventually you'll open the door to its heart. Then you can take it to a gate village where you can purify the Pokemon and revert it back to normal. This restores all of its moves and gains all of its experience points that it's earned, and yep, that's right. Shadow Pokemon don't gain experience points until after they've been purified, which is where the first major problem comes in. See, once you've defeated Mirror B, the first major boss, only then will you be allowed to go to a gate village and Relic Forest to purify your Shadow Pokemon. And how much of the game is that? Well, the game has a total of 48 Shadow Pokemon, and a whopping 18 of them are only obtainable before you get to purify the first one. This means no evolving, no leveling up, while the opponents scale up around you. That's over a third of the entire Shadow Pokemon list, and if we take out the post-game content, that's almost half of all Shadow Pokemon before you can purify them. And that leads me to my only big complaint about Pokemon Coliseum, which is the pacing. In 2003, Pokemon was still gaining its footing, learning how to scale its encounters, but I think Ruby and Sapphire did a really good job at this. But let me point out an example in Coliseum. You fight Xalem, who has Pokemon level 36 to 38, with Shadow Entei being level 40. Now, immediately after that, you can go to the Under, skip this girl, skip another character, and then immediately fight the next Cypher admin, Lady Venus, who has a Suicune level 40 and Pokemon level 45. Meanwhile, I'm still sitting over here with a level 37 Umbreon, that I had to grind, by the way. The final frontier of the game seems fairly balanced, they're all around the same level as me, but the final boss? Oh yeah, he's a good 10 to 15 levels above what I'm supposed to be at. If you're a hardcore fan, you will love the challenge. But if you can overcome the pacing, there's not much left for you to find to hate in this game.
Well, I didn't find anything. Sorry to have caused you any trouble. I just think I'll be taking my... Who the hell is that?
Oh, that must be the pizza that I ordered.
I'm just gonna leave.
Alright, now that they've wrapped up the investigation, I guess it's time for me to wrap up my views on Pokemon Coliseum. And if I had one takeaway that I want you to have from this video, it's that if you ever decide to bomb your former place of employment, always give your wish receipts to the delivery driver. Pokemon Coliseum is one of those hidden titles that have been lost through the years, and was lucky enough to warrant a sequel titled Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness 2 years later. The Pokemon Company really brought their all when it came to delivering the first true console experience that helped young players such as myself experience everything that the Pokemon genre has to offer. I didn't even go into the Mount Battle 100 Trainer Challenge, the Game Boy to GameCube connectivity, or the inclusion of my favorite legendary Pokemon of all time, but there are plenty of ways for you to get this game if you so desire. However, I truly hope that the Pokemon Company decides that these games deserve a set of remakes. Pokemon brought back the greatly adored Mystery Dungeon series, and they have Bandai Namco helping them to create a new Pokemon Snap. So tapping into the nostalgia market has been fairly successful for the Pokemon Company as of late. With this in mind, I truly hope that we get to see this game on the Nintendo Switch, because they deserve to be experienced by the newer generation. But if I could say one thing to try to convince you that this game was worth it, it's this. If you pre-ordered the game, they gave you a bonus disc with Jirachi.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to Xalem. That's Xalem, not Xalem, Xalem.